Can I get a witness here? Anybody in here can look at yourself and say, you know what? I hadn't always been the person that I am right now. Anybody can look over your life and say, I have done some idiotic and some silly and some childish things in my life. Paul began to say here, he said, when I was a child. Other words, Paul said, you looking at me now for who I am now, but I hadn't always been Brother Paul. You don't need to looking funny, looking crazy over here because you hadn't always been sister. Yeah. You had another name before you joined the church, and it wasn't Sister Maybell. It wasn't Sister Scott. It wasn't Sister Taylor. It wasn't Brother Smith. It wasn't Deacon Downs. You had a name. So I like the fact that before Paul began to talk about anything, Paul said, listen, I want you to understand, I hadn't always been holy. I've been hellish and whorish. I hadn't always been holy. Paul said, I understand my purpose, but you got to understand I got a past. I hadn't always been Brother Paul. He said, I have been Slick Saul. Anybody in here agree with me to say that the name you use now is not the name you have used before? A few years ago, back in the corner, as Pastor Ponder Jr. used to say, back in the dark, in the corner, y'all in the booth, y'all ain't talking to me here. Some of y'all have some name that you don't want revealed in the church. So Paul began to say, listen, he was talking about charity. He was talking about how charity and love suffers long and is kind and it envy not and it does not vaunt itself and is not puffed up. He talks about how it does not behave itself unseemly and seeketh its own and love is not easily provoked and it don't think evil. He was talking to them about love. But then I like the fact that Paul stopped and he realized, oh, wait a minute. There's no need of me talking to you like I'm all that. And I remember the time when I was right where you at now. Paul said, wait a minute now, I don't want you to get it twisted that I'm coming before you trying to act like I'm all holy, thou art loose, and you all hellish, thou art tied up. He said, I'm coming before you to let you know that there was a time in my life where I didn't love like I was supposed to. That there was a time in my life when I didn't have compassion on people like I was supposed to. That's why he used the phrase, when. Notice. There's two very important words in that parable. The first one is when. When you use the word when, that means he captured us to a specific time frame or era in his life. So what Paul is trying to get us to understand is that you can't determine my destiny over my when. Because just because I was something in the 80s don't mean I'm going to be it in the 90s. Y'all don't feel me in here. Anybody can say, I remember back in the 70s, I was with one joker, and I'm glad I got rid of him in the 80s so God can bless me with somebody else in the 90s. Y'all ain't feeling me in here. Huh? So the first thing I look at is Paul said, when. In other words, he said, don't worry about me in this place. Just understand that there is another place in my life where maybe you don't know about me. Anybody can say, well, listen, when I was in the street. Okay, you act like you can't say that. I know you can say it. When I was in the street. Don't be so quick to pat me on the back to my sister. You anointed, you got a good prayer, you sang good. Honey, when I was in the street, I did just as much junk in the street than I've been doing in the church. So capture this. He says, when I, in other words, now, take me back to that place. Even though I'm trying to minister to you today, I can't minister to you today without telling you where I've been. Now, see, that is a relevant word for some of y'all holy church folk that love to tell other folk what they don't do, can't do, need to do. It is. You don't need to tell them what they can't do, need to do, and won't do unless you can tell them what you used to do.